Hey guys, Pew's Living on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. Another week of sideways down in the markets. Generally, not much happening overall, week over week here. Starting with the total market cap again, the expectation is a bullish golden cross. So that doesn't happen. We're going to Goblin Town, Mines of Moria to the core. Otherwise, I'm expecting a decent bullish rally. Maybe not a new local high, but maybe a new local high. 33 billion, 330 billion by July, something like that. No. But yeah, the expectation is this is going to turn bullish. There's also an expectation, maybe in my mind, maybe not everyone else, but that this is also going to turn bullish on the alt. So this is total market cap minus BTC. And it's basically just ETH, honestly. Everything else is kind of a lesser impact on this particular index. But in general, again, expecting this bull cross, expecting a nice bullish rally, at least a retest of previous highs. Did an article on BTC for BNC. You can check that out. I'll leave the link in the description below. The TLDR was that the fundamental metrics and the technicals aren't exactly matching right now for me. The fundamentals appear super bearish in that everything's going down. Number go down on fundamentals and number go sideways on technicals. But I'm still expecting number go up on technicals to influence fundamentals in the next couple months leading into the end of the year. So things like local Bitcoin's volume down, exchange traffic is down, transactions per day is down, NVT is up, so that's an inverse measure of economic on-chain utility. So that doesn't quite jive with the rest of my spiel on this video, but if you're like me and you're more technical and fundamental, then you're thinking to yourself, well, this is mainly a speculative market and speculation is going to drive this sucker over fundamentals, but obviously it's better if they both align. Looking at the 20 SMA first on the Bollinger Bands, we're below the 20 SMA on the weekly. Historically, if we're above it, we're just absolutely tearing it up, bro. But if we're below, definitely more bear historically. So again, what I'd like to see is a break above the 20 SMA on the weekly in order to be more convinced that we're going to actually do something and go somewhere. The weekly cloud, we're above the Kijun, which is good. We're still in the cloud, which is neutral. The cloud itself is pretty big. And just the general principle of the cloud is that if we're in it, we can go any direction, anywhere, so long as we're still in it. So this just says volatility is here. It's going to stay. Probably going to be volatile until the end of the year. Upside of this is probably around 11.5. Downside is like 6. So there's no real like crystal ball clarity here as far as direction. But I certainly wouldn't expect massive upside based on the weekly cloud alone, just because we're still inside the cloud. The trend is still kind of indeterminate, figuring things out in those angsty teen years. Looking at the daily, though, it's kind of a different story. How I would read this is a potential trend transition into bull territory, not just because I want number to go up, but because we're about to activate an edge-to-edge trade. These trigger when we enter the cloud with price, with a bullish TK cross leading into it. We're not quite there on the TK cross. It's like touching, so technically it's, as neutral gets, but it's pretty creepy. I mentioned this in the last video that we just sort of, are ramming this snug cave of a cloud here. Now keep in mind, this was all printed 30 days in advance. This isn't like it's printed as it happens. So yeah, spooky stuff. But these are the targets should the edge-to-edge activate. The most grueling trade would be us just staying sideways this whole time, similar to leading into Q2, how we just sort of entered the cloud, did nothing, and then finally did something. That's kind of where we're at with ETH. I'll talk about ETH in a minute, but yeah, so edge to edge, watch for that. Also, again, watching for this mean reversion to the pitchfork median line, multi-year pitchfork, multi-year trend rate of change determiner, similar to stock to flow in my mind, and I don't think it's like that far off. But the yearly pivots kind of give us a top of the previous local around 13. So not out of the question that we are at somewhere between 11 and 13 by the end of the year based on the pitchfork. And even the VPVR doesn't have massive resistance. Like, we're not sitting below a massive resistance node here. We're above this previous consolidation zone. Obviously, this May to September consolidation, it was pretty massive, but volume-wise, not necessarily. And then looking at the 4 hour, if I'm just trying to be creative and find something, there is a potential for a flag thing that, banana, half banana, rotten banana. The rotten banana pattern is projecting a target of 11.2 as well, just based on, flag principles. Switching to ETH, again, it's grinding the bottom of this cloud. As it's getting as grindy can get. RSI is above 50, that's good. Volume is not really there yet, which is fine. We're not doing anything. Hard fork should be coming December 4th. Maybe we just stay sideways into that. Or maybe a week before we pumperoni like we did kind of over here. I don't know, but my money's on long over short here. The other thing to watch for is the 200 EMA at around 180, 198, I think, something like that. And you can also see the future cloud flipping bullish here probably this week. Even if we stay sideways, it'll flip bullish. So at the very least, very bottomy things we're seeing here on ETH, getting me excited in my plums. There's a pitchfork that you can sort of fit. Not sort of fit. It fits. In my mind, it's real. We bounced where we should have bounced. The median line, just like 11.5 or 7 or whatever for BTC, that is 335 on ETH. So that sounds crazy now, but again, if the rate of change holds up, that's what we expect. We expect 335 over lower lows, basically. And another reason to be bullish ETH, not necessarily a good reason, but it's a reason. MakerDAO, the popularity of MakerDAO is increasing to the point where they're maxing out on their ability to lend DAI. They've hit their 100 million cap. They're proposing a raise to 120. This just says that a lot of people are using it and holding on to it. So to me, that's bullish as far as the DeFi narrative is concerned. ETH BTC, kind of a hot mess. I don't really know how to read it. I don't. It's really hard to trade this chart, I think. I know people are like, oh, you're a Bitcoin maximalist. Why are you looking at the USD pairs? But this is just harder to trade for me. Like, I can see ETH USD going sideways. Fine. I know what to do there. This, it had an inverted head and shoulders. Now it's got this rising wedge thing. It's got a pretty big gap between 222 and 025. So there's certainly a case to be made to fill that gap. But in order to trade this, I think is much more difficult than actually trading the USD pair. Moving on to Ripple. Ripple also looks good from a cloud perspective. Bullish ticket cross, bullish cloud will flip this week. It did dump pretty hard going into its conference, but I don't really care either way. Not a big fan of Ripple baseline, but the tech is the tech. So again, leading into 2020, I do expect some modicum of bull rally from XRP. XRP BTC, same thing. A lot of BTC pairs look like this. Again, going back to the altcoin cap minus BTC, we're seeing bottom things here on the cloud again. The cloud's already bullish as it creeps its way above the cloud, perhaps within the next week. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, hit me up on Twitter, and happy trading.